The Xendari warship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight in impossible patterns. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of Luna Base, her weathered face reflecting off the reinforced plasma glass as she watched humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization unfold. 20 years of preparation had led to this moment, though the Xendari didn't know that yet. The alien vessel's approach was deliberate, almost theatrical. Its massive form dwarfed the defensive satellites Earth had strategically positioned, outdated technology deliberately left visible to maintain the illusion of humanity's technological level. Chen allowed herself a small smile as the Xendari ship's sensors swept over these decoys, knowing what they weren't detecting beneath the lunar surface. First contact proceeded exactly as intelligence had predicted. The Xendari, appearing as tall, ethereal beings with translucent skin that pulsed with bioluminescence, requested an audience with Earth's leaders. Their message was broadcast globally. We come in peace, seeking to elevate humanity into the galactic community. The United Earth Council, convening in their public chambers in Geneva, played their part perfectly. They appeared appropriately awed by the advanced technology, asking carefully crafted, naive questions about faster-than-light travel and energy generation. The Xendari representatives, led by Ambassador Ixel, practically preened as they explained concepts that Earth scientists had secretly mastered decades ago. For 3 months, the charade continued. The Xendari established an embassy in New Delhi, began cultural exchange programs, and offered to help upgrade Earth's primitive infrastructure. All the while, their ships conducted detailed scans of the planet, believing their technology far too advanced for humans to detect. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in Command Center Omega, Shen reviewed the latest intelligence with her fellow commanders. The holographic display showed the true extent of the Xendari fleet, gathering in the dark space beyond Pluto. Nearly 3,000 warships, hidden from conventional detection methods, but clearly visible to humanity's quantum sensor network. They're following the same pattern as with the Centauri colonies, General Marcus Williams said, his dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. Pretend to be peaceful, gain access to the planet's defense systems, then strike when the population least expects it. Chen nodded, bringing up another hologram showing Earth's hidden defensive grid. And like the Centauri, they think we're blind to their true intentions. The difference is, we've had 20 years to prepare since we first detected their long-range communications. The Xendari's reputation preceded them, though they didn't know it. Earth's quantum arrays had intercepted enough of their transmissions over the decades to understand their modus operandi. They were expansion-driven, viewing less advanced civilizations as resources to be harvested rather than equals to be welcomed. What made humans different was their paranoia, the very trait that had saved them. When the first alien signals were detected in 2047, Earth's nations had done something unprecedented. They united in secret. While maintaining a facade of political divisions and technological limitations, they had pooled their resources and intelligence to prepare for this inevitable encounter. The deception went deeper than the Xendari could imagine. Every piece of primitive technology they scanned was deliberately placed. Every military installation they observed was a carefully constructed fake. Earth's true defensive capabilities lay hidden in underground bases, beneath the oceans, and in dimensional pocket spaces that their sensors couldn't penetrate. As Chen watched the Xendari ambassador give another condescending speech about uplifting humanity, she received the signal she'd been waiting for. The enemy fleet had finally moved into position for their surprise attack. Their invasion force was fully committed, exactly where Earth wanted them. All commands, initiate Protocol 0, Chen transmitted through the quantum-encrypted network. Prepare for Phase 1. Around the world, hidden facilities hummed to life. Beneath the ice of Antarctica, behind the facade of a research station, the first of Earth's true warships powered up its systems. In the Mariana Trench, quantum forges began producing the specialized ammunition that would tear through Xendari shields. And in orbit, disguised as debris, Thousands of autonomous defense platforms waited for the signal to reveal their true nature. The Xendari thought they were springing a trap on humanity. They didn't realize they were walking into one that had been 20 years in the making. As Chen suited up in her command armor, she reflected on the irony. The aliens' greatest mistake wasn't underestimating humanity's technology. It was underestimating humanity's capacity for patience and deception. The game was about to change, and the Xendari would never know what hit them. Ambassador Ixel's triumphant smile vanished as the holographic projections in the Geneva Council chamber flickered and died. The Xendari delegation had just announced their fleet's position, demanding Earth's immediate surrender. But instead of panic, they were met with an eerie calm from the human representatives. Council President Maria Santos rose from her seat, her expression shifting from diplomatic politeness to cold determination. "I'm afraid we must decline your generous offer of surrender, Ambassador. In fact, we have a counter-proposal." The chamber's walls suddenly became transparent, revealing the true facility that had been hidden beneath the illusion. Advanced quantum computers lined the walls, and tactical displays showed the positions of both the Xendari fleet and Earth's hidden defenses. Ixel's bioluminescent skin paled as he realized the implications. "Impossible," he whispered, his translator struggling with his shocked tone. "Your technology, you couldn't have hidden it from your sensors." Santos finished for him. "Ambassador, we've been hiding things from beings far more advanced than you for decades. Did you really think we wouldn't detect your scout ships 20 years ago?" In orbit, the Xendari fleet began their planned assault maneuver, completely unaware that their encrypted communications had been compromised years ago. Their ships moved into a classic pincer formation, preparing to target Earth's major population centers with their plasma cannons. Deep within Mount Denali, Dr. Maya Patel monitored the quantum entanglement network as it tracked every Xendari vessel. Her team had spent years studying their attack patterns, developing countermeasures for each one. "All defense grid nodes report ready," she announced to the command center. "Dimensional pocket shields at full capacity." The Xendari fleet launched their first salvo, expecting to destroy Earth's primitive satellite defense system. Instead, their plasma bolts disappeared into seemingly empty space, absorbed by quantum shields that existed in folded dimensions their sensors couldn't detect. Admiral Chen's voice echoed through the global command network. "Execute Operation Checkmate." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden technology revealed itself. The asteroid belt suddenly came alive as thousands of miniature automated weapons platforms emerged from their rocky hiding places. The dark side of the moon shimmered as massive hangars phased into normal space, releasing waves of advanced fighter craft. But the real surprise came from Earth itself. The oceans began to churn as gigantic platforms rose from the depths, each one housing technology that the Xendari had believed impossible for primitive humans to achieve. The Amazon rainforest canopy split open, revealing launch bays for ships that combined human innovation with reversed engineered alien tech. "You see, Ambassador," Santos continued, watching Ixel's growing horror, "while you were scanning our primitive defenses, you never thought to look for quantum phase variations or dimensional pocket signatures. Why would you? According to your intelligence, we hadn't even mastered basic fusion technology." The Xendari fleet commanders frantically tried to adapt their strategy, but they had walked into a trap decades in the making. Earth's defensive grid had been designed specifically to counter their every advantage. Their supposedly impenetrable shields were useless against weapons that attacked from folded space. Their advanced targeting systems were confused by ships that existed partially in other dimensions. In the Mariana Command Center, General Williams watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Launch the Neem-Isa as swarms," he ordered. Across Earth's orbit, clouds of what appeared to be simple debris suddenly activated. Millions of microscopic robots, each one containing more computing power than all of 20th century Earth combined, began infiltrating Xendari ships through their hull plating. These nanobots had been specifically programmed to bypass secondary security systems, using algorithms developed from decades of studying their transmissions. Ambassador Ixel watched in mounting despair as reports flooded in from his fleet. Ship after ship reported critical system failures as human technology, far more advanced than anything they had believed possible, systematically dismantled their offensive capabilities. How? He finally asked, his previous arrogance replaced by genuine fear. How did you hide all of this? Santos smiled, but there was no warmth in it. We learned long ago that the greatest advantage isn't having superior technology. It's having technology your enemy doesn't know about. Every piece of primitive equipment you scanned was placed there deliberately. Every weakness you detected was carefully crafted. We needed you to believe we were helpless, and you obliged us by seeing exactly what you expected to see. The secondary fleet, trapped and outmaneuvered, faced a choice they had never expected to make: surrender to a species they had planned to conquer. Humanity's hidden arsenal had turned their carefully planned invasion into a catastrophic defeat, and the galaxy was about to learn that appearances could be very, very deceiving. The secondary fleet admiral, Zexthor, watched in disbelief as his holographic display filled with emergency signals. His supposedly invincible armada was being systematically dismantled by weapons that shouldn't exist. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were hunting his ships with terrifying precision. From her command center in the Himalayan complex, Admiral Chen initiated humanity's counteroffensive. All battle groups, execute Protocol Thunderbolt, she ordered through the quantum network. Show them what we've been hiding all these years. The Earth's response emerged from impossible places. What the secondary had dismissed as simple weather satellites suddenly unfolded into deadly weapon platforms. Sections of the Great Wall of China split apart, revealing launch bays for aerospace fighters that could transition between atmospheric and space combat with ease. But it was the human ships themselves that truly demonstrated the depth of their deception. Unlike the rigid crystalline designs of secondary vessels, Earth's warships were exercises in calculated chaos. Their hulls shifted and adapted in real time, quantum-engineered materials restructuring themselves to counter each secondary attack. The ETS Prometheus, humanity's flagship, emerged from its dimensional pocket near Mars. Its design was unlike anything that secondary had encountered, a fractal pattern of interconnected modules that could separate and recombine at will. Captain James Rodriguez stood on its bridge, watching as his crew executed maneuvers that the enemy had believed impossible. Target their command ship, Rodriguez ordered. Let's show them our primitive targeting systems. The Prometheus's weapon systems were a perfect blend of human ingenuity and reversed-engineered alien technology. Instead of the brute force approach favored by the secondary, human weapons utilized the subtle weaknesses in spacetime itself. Quantum torpedoes phased through enemy shields by briefly existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Gravity lances created localized singularities that tore secondary ships apart from the inside. In orbit around Jupiter, the secondary fleet attempted to regroup. Admiral Zexthor had ordered them to prepare a counterattack, but human vessels seemed to anticipate their every move. Unknown to them, Earth's quantum AI systems had spent years analyzing secondary battle tactics, creating perfect countermeasures for each strategy. Dr. Maya Patel's voice came through the command network. NENXU's predictive systems show they're about to attempt a mass jump to escape. Activating the gravity web. Throughout the solar system, hidden generators activated, creating an intricate web of manipulated spacetime. The secondary's faster-than-light drives, already spooling up for emergency evacuation, suddenly found themselves unable to establish stable corridors. They were trapped. You don't understand. Ambassador Ixel pleaded in the Geneva chamber, watching his species' military might crumble. We are the secondary. We have conquered 12 star systems. Our technology is centuries ahead of anything you should possess. President Santos smiled grimly. That was your first mistake, Ambassador. You assume that technological advancement follows a linear path. Humanity took a different approach. While you were perfecting your energy weapons, we were learning to fold space. While you were building bigger ships, we were making ours disappear entirely. The battle in space had become less of a war and more of a demonstration. Earth's forces moved with practiced precision, herding the remaining secondary ships into predetermined zones. When the aliens attempted to fire their weapons, they found their energy sensors scrambled by quantum interference. When they tried to launch fighters, they discovered their launch bays locked by localized time dilation fields. In the Gobi Desert Command Center, General Williams coordinated with the AI tactical systems. "Deploy the Maesh network," he ordered. Thousands of microscopic robots, seeded throughout the solar system years ago, activated. They began linking together, forming vast networks that disrupted Zendari communications and sensor systems. Admiral Zex Thor watched helplessly as his fleet's capabilities were stripped away layer by layer. How can they be everywhere at once? He demanded of his tactical officers. How can they know every move we're about to make? The answer, had he known it, would have terrified him even more. Humanity hadn't just prepared for this battle. They had simulated it countless times. Every possible secondary strategy, every potential response, had been analyzed and countered before the first shot was fired. As the last of the Tsendary's offensive capabilities were neutralized, Admiral Chen opened a channel to their entire fleet. "Your ships are disabled. Your weapons are offline. You have two choices: surrender and face judgment from the United Earth Council, or attempt to resist and be destroyed. You have 5 minutes to decide." The silence that followed was deafening. The mighty Xendari collective, which had never known defeat, found itself at the mercy of a species they had planned to subjugate. Their most advanced sensors couldn't penetrate humanity's stealth systems. Their strongest weapons couldn't breach Earth's dimensional shields. Their finest tacticians couldn't outthink humanity's hybrid AI strategists. They had come expecting to find prey, only to discover they were the ones being hunted all along. In the quantum-shielded command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the neural interface displays with intense focus. Streams of data flowed through the holographic projections as thousands of human pilots merged their consciousness with their ship's AI systems. This was humanity's true advantage, not just their hidden technology, but their unique ability to adapt and innovate in real time. The Xendari's remaining battle groups had consolidated their forces near Saturn, desperately trying to find a pattern in humanity's seemingly chaotic attack strategies. But there was no pattern to find. Each human ship operated with individual initiative, while simultaneously functioning as part of a greater neural network, creating a level of tactical flexibility that the rigid Xendari command structure couldn't comprehend. Captain Elena Martins of the ETS Hyperion demonstrated this advantage as she engaged 3 Xendari cruisers. Her consciousness extended through her ship's systems, feeling the quantum drives as if they were her own muscles, sensing the enemy's plasma torpedoes through the ship's dimensional sensors. The neural interface translated complex spatial calculations into pure intuition. "They're still trying to predict our movements using standard combat algorithms," Martins communicated through the neural net, shifting to chaos pattern delta. The Hyperion's response was instantaneous. The ship split into 5 separate sections, each one moving independently yet perfectly coordinated through Martinez's neural commands. The Xendari vessels, programmed to target ship centers of mass, found their weapons striking empty space as the Hyperion's components danced through their firing solutions. In the Geneva Command Center, Ambassador Ixel watched the tactical displays with growing horror. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Your ships move like living things. No crew could coordinate such complex maneuvers." Dr. Maya Patel, who had helped develop the neural integration systems, allowed herself a small smile. "That's because you're still thinking in terms of crew and ship as separate entities. We stopped making that distinction a decade ago." Throughout the solar system, humanity's neural advantage was turning the tide of battle decisively. While Xendari ships relied on hierarchical command structures and pre-programmed response patterns, human vessels adapted and evolved their tactics in real time. The neural network allowed instant sharing of successful strategies, with each engagement making the entire fleet more effective. Admiral Zexithor, watching his forces crumble, finally began to understand the true nature of his enemy. The humans hadn't just hidden their technological advancement. They'd developed in a completely different direction than any species that Xendari had encountered. Deep within the lunar defense complex, General Williams monitored the neural feedback loops that connected Earth's military forces. They expected us to think like them, he commented to his staff, to build bigger ships, stronger weapons, faster engines. Instead, we focused on integration and adaptation. The neural advantage manifested in countless ways. When Xendari ships attempted to jam human communications, they found there were no traditional signals to disrupt. The neural network operated through quantum entanglement. When they tried to hack human computer systems, they discovered neural architectures that operated on principles their AI couldn't comprehend. In orbit around Titan, a squadron of human fighters demonstrated this superiority in dramatic fashion. As Xendari warships launched a coordinated attack pattern, the human pilots merged their consciousness into a temporary group mind. Their ships moved in perfect synchronization, flowing around enemy fire like water around rocks. The neural link allowed them to coordinate maneuvers that would have been impossible through conventional communication. Their entire military doctrine is based on technological superiority, President Santos explained to the stunned Xendari ambassador. You never considered that true advancement might mean changing how we think, not just what we build. The neural network was humanity's greatest achievement, and their greatest secret. While the Xendari and other alien civilizations had focused on external technology, humanity had turned inward, developing ways to merge human consciousness with artificial systems. The result was a military force that could think, adapt, and evolve faster than any conventional army. As the battle entered its final phases, this advantage became increasingly apparent. Human ships seemed to anticipate Xendari maneuvers before they began. Defensive formations shifted and reformed with organic fluidity. What had started as a war was becoming a demonstration of two fundamentally different approaches to advancement, one based on rigid hierarchy and brute force, the other on adaptation and integration. From their hidden bases throughout the solar system, humanity's neural-linked forces closed in on the remaining Xendari ships. They moved not as a traditional military fleet, but as a single organism with thousands of synchronized parts. The Xendari's carefully planned invasion had collapsed not just because of superior technology, but because they had fundamentally misunderstood the nature of human advancement. The last Xendari warship powered down its weapon systems, joining the others in surrender. Above Saturn's rings, the combined fleet of Earth's forces held position, their quantum shields shimming with contained power. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the ETS Prometheus, watching as the final piece of humanity's decades-long strategy fell into place. Open a channel to all Xendari vessels, she ordered. The neural interface translated her thoughts instantly, establishing quantum-entangled communications. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Your surrender is accepted. But the victory over the Xendari was just the beginning. In the Geneva Command Center, President Santos activated a hidden quantum transmitter, one powerful enough to reach across the galaxy. Send the signal, she commanded. Let them all see. Throughout known space, on thousands of worlds, communication systems suddenly activated. The quantum burst carried with it full sensor data from the battle, undeniable proof of humanity's capabilities. Species that had dismissed Earth as a primitive backwater watched in stunned silence as the recording showed human ships wielding technologies that should have been impossible. Ambassador Ixel, still under guard in Geneva, finally understood the true scope of humanity's deception. This wasn't just about defeating us, he realized aloud. You wanted the entire galaxy to witness it. Precisely, Santos confirmed. The Tsenderi weren't the only ones watching Earth. We detected surveillance probes from 15 different civilizations over the past 2 decades. All of them saw exactly what we wanted them to see, a primitive species barely capable of reaching their own moon. In orbit around Mars, the dimensional pocket that had hidden Earth's largest shipyard began to open. Hundreds of vessels emerged, each one representing the pinnacle of human engineering and neural integration. They had been waiting there, ready not just for the Tsenderi, but for what would come after. Dr. Maya Patel's voice came through the neural network. The quantum ripples are spreading. We're detecting increased communications between all major galactic powers. They're trying to make sense of what they've just witnessed. This had been the true purpose of humanity's strategy, not just to defeat one invader, but to announce their presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. The species that had dismissed Earth as unworthy of attention were now frantically reassessing their intelligence. In the Himalayan complex, General Williams reviewed the incoming data streams. The Arcturus Confederation is already requesting diplomatic contact. The Centauri Alliance has withdrawn their fleet from the sector border. 3 other species we've never even contacted are sending recognition signals. Humanity's path to galactic recognition had been carefully planned from the moment they detected their first alien transmission. Instead of revealing their advancements gradually, they had chosen to hide everything until the perfect moment. The defeat of the Tsenderi, one of the galaxy's recognized military powers, served as their introduction to interstellar politics. Your civilization will be marked as aggressors in the galactic records, Santos informed Ambassador Ixel. But more importantly, the galaxy now knows that Earth is not to be underestimated. We have demonstrated not just advanced technology, but the wisdom to use it strategically. The neural network buzzed with activity as humanity's forces began the transition from war footing to peace. Ships that had been weapons of war reconfigured themselves for exploration and diplomacy. The same technology that had allowed them to hide their capabilities now enabled them to reveal them selectively, maintaining strategic advantages while demonstrating peaceful intentions. Admiral Chen received the first diplomatic transmission from the Galactic Council itself. The message was brief but significant. Earth was being offered full membership, bypassing the usual centuries-long evaluation period. The defeat of the Tsenderi had proven not just humanity's technological prowess, but their ability to think on a galactic scale. We could have announced ourselves years ago, Chen explained to her bridge crew. We could have shared our technologies, saw alliances, tried to join the galactic community gradually. But humanity chose a different path, to reveal ourselves through victory, ensuring that our first impression would be one of undeniable strength. As the sun set over Geneva, President Santos addressed the people of Earth. The holographic broadcast reached every corner of the planet, its quantum encryption ensuring that even now, other species could only see what humanity wanted them to see. Today marks not just a victory, but a beginning, she declared. We have shown the galaxy that humanity cannot be underestimated. We have demonstrated that advancement comes not just from technology, but from the wisdom to use it properly. The path ahead will not be easy, but we have earned our place among the stars. In orbit, Earth's fleet resumed their defensive positions, their neural networks alive with shared consciousness and purpose. They had achieved what no other species had managed, entering the galactic stage not as supplicants or victims, but as equals. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead.